Hi, good afternoon. We didn't realize that we were going to be on a stage, so bear with us. We thought it was going to be, she said it was very informal and casual, and I was like, oh, it'll be at the tables and everyone will walk around and, you know, we'll meet and greet and be personable, and now I feel like, hello, I will talk to you properly and I will do my, you know, anyway. I'm Janessa Minji. This is Gabby Rodriguez.
I'm Elise Nicoletti.
We've been working together on our ILC project, obviously. So we're going to give you a little overview. I made this video talking about our process. What is our project? Ooh, now it's really happening. A little bit about ourselves, a little bit about our project, and then we'll go into our project a little bit. If you have questions, please wave at us, because now we have bright lights in our face. And ask, because we do anything we have, we'd love to share with you. I'm going to show you our website where you can access all our information and handouts and documents and presentations and you name it. We are sharers. So here we go. We noticed in our district that we needed to talk about the literary shifts. I have to be very careful with that word, just so you know. Taking what we already do, because none of us at the time were adopting new curriculum. And so we want to take what we already do in our classrooms and apply it to the Common Core. Because no one wants to reinvent the wheel. No one wants to do that much work. We're all about being just slightly lazy. But you know, taking what we do that's really well done and improving upon that. So all of you are very welcome to go to our website. We do have a website for all our information. It's techlearningcommunity.weebly.com. It started actually with my friend Karen Taylor, who now works for CTA, and we put our resource in the resources under workshops, and we have the ILC addressing the shifts. And there, you'll see the video you just saw, plus our presentation, which we're going to briefly go through. This is not going to be totally in-depth like we would do. And then all our handouts are also on here. I think this handout is, 6 pages, plus links. Yeah, and I don't want to... And there's a handout or a sign-in sheet going around, so we can have your email addresses and we can help you out in any way. Oh, yeah. It's Tech Learning Community. I guess right here on the top. Yeah. .weebly, WEEBLY.com. And we are going to take you through the presentation, our presentation just a little bit, because we wanted to, when thinking about our project, we didn't want to just do, we're all ELA, it turns out, which is really funny. But we didn't want to focus on just ELA because that's not what everyone teaches. So our project goes cross-curricular and then interdisciplinary because we wanted to make sure that people were talking to each other, not just, as we tend to do, stay in our groups like, like we did. So I will welcome Gabby to the stand.
Thank you. Okay, so again, we're going to briefly go over this, so we apologize that it's going kind of quickly. So we apologize if it goes rather quickly, but again, you have the resources there to come back to at any point, anytime you want. And if you have any questions, our emails are also on the presentation, and we'd be happy to talk to you a bit after we present. So yeah, as Danessa mentioned, we are English teachers. I teach at Live Oak High School, tiny little rural district north of Sacramento on the way to Chico. I am the only English 11 teacher at my site, so it makes it a little difficult when it comes to collaborating, but also it's kind of a nice thing to be able to, close the door, do my thing. So when I came together with these ladies, it was wonderful what we came up with because, again, it's not just for English, it's for any content area and level. So we have presented to county offices, to teachers of all grade levels. We have presented to high school, to in all content areas as well. So what we addressed really was the literary shifts at the beginning of our presentation, talking about how now we are needing to get our children from just reading novels for fun or reading for fun to really engaging in complex texts that will really challenge them and give them new academic language. And then, of course, addressing the text-based evidence in those texts and how we can do that through reading and writing and speaking that our standards ask us to. There's a very informative video there. Also, again, the other shift is building the knowledge through content-rich nonfiction. And so we took those and basically talked about how is it that we can take what we already do in our classroom, nothing new, nothing overwhelming, take what we already do and we feel very good about, and increasing the rigor. And so, yeah, favorite word. And here are those 4 C's that come from our ILC component and how these are the things that are now our students are being asked to do some more critical thinking, communication, collaboration, creativity. And so we felt strongly that these performance tasks that we talk about engage all 4 of those. And then, of course, in the presentation, there's a short video there that is a very popular video that talks about what students are expected to know and how so many of them are going to go into jobs that don't even exist yet while they're still in high school. So this video really opens up the eyes of the participants of our training to see why this is important. So it's a good video if you have a chance to look at it. Because we don't know what we're doing in the future, so we need to prepare our students to be the best they can be. So moving on, like I said, I'm going through this really quickly. In our presentation, we provide teachers with the definition of a performance task. What does one look like? We actually show them some examples. We have, again, here's the definition. And then we also go into talking about, there's videos there that show you how to put it together. It's pretty in-depth. And of course, we address the DOKs, the depth of knowledge levels, and how performance tasks address particularly the 3 and 4s. Okay. If I'm missing anything, please jump in. We talked about what the structure of a performance task looks like, what's the stimulus, what information processing they need to have, and then what is the product of performance that we look for. And one of the biggest eye-opening things for teachers is that it's not just a written product. It doesn't have to be just a written product. It could be literally something performed. It could be, visual project. It could be group collaborative. So it really opens up for engagement and motivation in students.
And I think that was one of the big eye openers when we developed this process, because teachers, as teachers we get the SBAC is coming, this is what it looks like, and you have to do this, and you have to fit it in, and you have to be, technology, and then you're like, oh, technology, how do I incorporate that? Now I have to do a performance task with technology, what does that look like? So I think we got stuck in that whole written part of a performance task, which of course they are asked to do, but then there's that classroom portion. And I think a lot of our teachers, we noticed, struggled with that. How do we take what we do and make one of those, and then make it relevant to our students? Because I remember the first one we did was the practice one with the donuts. My 7th graders did donuts, and they're like, when do we get our donuts? And that's all they could think about, because donuts were relevant, but not the actual task with donuts. So taking that and making it relevant for them, so doing some videos with the write-up or whatnot.
And then beyond that, what was eye-opening too, and Danessa will touch on more, is how, so will Elise, is how it's not just an English department thing.
Right.
It can be done across content. So you can work with other teachers in developing performance tasks, and again, take care of grading together. Not having just to do writing. So again, we'll touch on that more. But there are some links here on how to create performance tasks, how to plan one, and how to create one effectively, looking at your standards, looking at your content, looking at your grade level. And so these links are all there for you to access. They're pretty user-friendly. I can show you just the 3rd grade one just real quick, so you can see what it looks like, if it will open. Okay, it's going slow, so I'm going to return.
Hold your breath.
Okay, well that's what it looks like. And it takes you through, step by step, how to put it together. It asks you questions that you want to look at and really explore before you put the performance tasks together. And again, it can be used for all content areas, not just English.
And I'm a big proponent of letting students create one. Why not? Why not see what they do and steal their ideas and then build upon them? And then they have ownership of that. And they're like, wait a minute. I get to create what other students are going to do. And again, that's just another way to do it. Are they still doing a performance task? Yeah, they're making it. And then they get to see their friends, produce their product. That's pretty exciting. And then they get excited about doing someone else's performance task. Just putting that out there.
Okay, this one's small. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
I have this. And then we go into a little bit about the technology, because I know a lot of districts do not have technology or do have technology. It all depends on where you work. My district just before this year just went one-to-one in certain classes. I'm one of those classes. I've been one of those teachers that have been using technology forever. Some of you have seen me before through CTA doing technology workshops, which is kind of fun, and saying hi and all that stuff. So I briefly talk about how to different types of technology that teachers can use tomorrow. I talk about Newsella, depending on how you say it, and daily read, different ways, because I know a lot of teachers, we pull articles and have the students read it, but if they're not updated, they're not current. And it's, again, providing that authentic reading, that authentic connection helps. So these sites, another one's is Tween Tribune. It's from the Smithsonian. It's one of my favorites. I use it constantly. And the kids are engaged in the reading. And then they, you put in some questions or you use it. Yeah?
I have a question.
Sure.
Newsella.
Yes.
My 3rd grade son told me it's Newsella, and I kept on.
That's what she said today, and I was all, what?
I saw him use it in 3rd grade, and my son's in 3rd grade, and then my son's 6th grade also has it, and my question is it free?
Yes. There are free components to all of them. And there's always going to be, they have to make some money somewhere. There's always,
But
I know, that's what she said.
So I just like some English teachers, they want to
Oh, yeah.
You know, it good?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. They're all different. They're different in little ways. If I go back, since we're talking about it, the Smithsonian one, I really like that one because you can create an account for them and you get to monitor them. They actually get to kind of blog, small blogs on each of the articles. And there's lessons there that are free. Data Read has the same kind of thing. That one's subscription based. All of them you can monitor. News ELA apparently. I like News ELA. Those have Common Core aligned quizzes for you, so it just depends on what you're looking for. Some of the other ones that I use, Google Scholar is still out there. You can search text through Google. They got rid of the other one, which I'm really upset about, and I wrote Google where you could find text based on grade level. They took that away this year, or last year, so let's all band together and write Google, because that was super awesome. The other thing is there are some sites that you can use to upload articles into and have them read online. Now I know reading online is not always the best thing. We got to do both, and I'm not saying here to say go all tech. But Actively Learn, you can create quizzes, questions. You can input video, media, which is what the Common Core, the SBAC's going to ask them to do. And it's just tools, and I try to make that clear. You don't have to do this all at once. None of us can do all of this at once. I do not do all this at once. But picking that one thing that's interesting to you and incorporating it into that. And how do we start that? I'm so sorry. I feel like this is the fastest thing ever. But you want to do stuff that use what you already have. Go for it. And if it fails, awesome. Because that's how we all learn. That's how our students learn. I talk to my students all the time about failing and making mistakes. Like, but I'm afraid to make mistakes. Honey, I make mistakes every day. Don't you point them out for me? Come on. So, and just going for it. Talking about the, higher order learning, thinking versus the lower learning. You still need the lower levels to get to the higher levels. We can't forget that. And I know sometimes our admin, especially not the PD in my area, sometimes they're like, well, higher level. And I'm like, wait. They can't process it unless we get there. We have to get there first. There is on the website, it's literally 9 pages now of tried and true, used sites, technology pieces that you are more than welcome to steal, beg, borrow, and steal from me and Karen Taylor. We put it together that we actually use in the classroom. Not all every day, not all at once, but we still update it. We still talk to each other. Hey, have you seen this?
They're by DOK level.
And it's by DOK
They're by
level.
DOK level.
Thank you. And then these are just examples of my performance tasks that I actually do in the classroom. Please find me. We can talk about those because I want to make sure we get through everything. Genius Hour image. I saw a couple. Yes! Best ever, right? I know. We're going to have a little group later about it. This is my student built a robot because he didn't want to clean his room for Genius Hour, and it worked. Okay? Genius Hour, their own interest. He talked to a parent, another win, and he did it. Another win. Did he struggle? Absolutely. Could I help him? Absolutely not, because I don't know anything about electricity. A Titanic unit I do. Obviously, I'm ELA. You see kids measuring stuff. They're doing buoyancy, and we're talking about all that stuff. And just incorporating those things. The last one for me is one we're doing 7th grade wide, and we're doing a Renaissance fair as a performance task. That is our final this year, school-wide 7th grade. We're having, it's Common Core aligned. We were just talking about this the other day. They're having choices on which performance tasks they're going to do. Each performance task touches on math, science, history, and English. And so we all have the same, yes, isn't that brilliant? And you can steal this, and I will give it to you once it's done. We're still working on it, but the 8th grade kids go away. We are having a fair. They get to see all these presenters, and they actually get to present their tasks to each other, depending on what it is. The catapult, like if it's the art piece, we're going to have an art gallery. If it's the catapult, they're going to actually shoot the catapults because that's part of the process, as guesstimating how far it is going to go and that sort of thing. But it's going to be, and then they get to have a medieval feast. I mean, how cool is that? But it's the buy-in for that. Yes, it's a lot of work for us up front, but the kids are going to get so much out of that I could never just do in one class together. Cool.
Hi, I'm Elise Nicolai. I don't know if I can talk as fast as Vanessa, but I'm going to try. I'm from, okay, you time me, 3 minutes. Did I say I was from Los Banos Unified School District? I had the honor of working with these awesome ladies, so I'm just going to let you know a little bit about what Gabby and Vanessa talked about with the cross-curricular. I'm going to try and go through this really fast. So the unit that, where is it? The unit that we worked on, my goal was to move forward towards explanatory text, but and I'm going to do more of this in about 15 minutes in another cafe, but I didn't abandon the narrative. I feel very strongly that the narrative leads into the explanatory, which leads into the argumentative and is actually embedded in it. So, be that as it may, I also wanted to tie in the real-world connection. And so, because this was in September, leading into September, I was able to work with the 9/11 connection and a book that tied in history. And I brought it here for you. You've got to remember to take it with me. And if anybody's ever used it, it's an awesome book, Among the Heroes. And it actually has the story of each of the passengers that were on Flight 93, which happened to be 30 miles away from where I grew up. So it crashed 30 miles away from where I grew up. So anyhow, that's how it was personal for me. And what I did is try and tie in, those shifts, which you can see up here, regular practice with complex text and their academic language, because we were working with the book, reading, writing, and speaking grounded in evidence from the text, both literary and informational, and building knowledge through content-rich nonfiction, which this book was. So, this is really fast. We actually have a unit. We are doing Common Core. We're doing, each unit is aligned, and I don't have time to go in through all that, but that our district is doing that K through 12. So we start out with a pre-assessment, which is what this shows. We have essential questions, big ideas. Then there's the tasks, the performance tasks. So for this particular unit, which was narrative, and since I teach 10th grade and I'm in high school, you know that narrative's not really big there. So anyhow, I worked with the literary terms, and then task 2 was Among the Heroes work. And then we went through draft 1, peer response, final draft, presentation, post-assessment. And that's pretty much how every unit runs. Trying to go through this really, really fast. And so, just as an overview of task 2, this is what students did. They first experienced the book through writing reflections. Then I assigned each group, because my classroom pretty much has 5, 6 groups in it. They all got 3 chapters of this book. Then I jigsawed it, and I don't have the piece of paper to show you, but it just occurred to me that we could take a piece of paper and fold it into 6 blocks, and I learned that at some other professional development I was at, and so that's how I jigsawed, and kids were able to get actually through and know this entire book by jigsawing, after they left their home groups. So that's what that step was talking about. This led into the pre-writing, which I bridged, and this has been my big thing all semester, bridging the gap between the narrative and the explanatory. I have text in here actually to show you. The writing sample, I could actually, I don't think there's time though, but the writing sample would show you how they talked about the narrative, which was their indelible moment, and then getting to an indelible moment that they found in the book. And I think that's it, right? And these are my student samples, which I don't have time to show you, but
it's all there.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to hand this back and say thank you.
And just to be clear, we had like a 4-hour block with our stuff. We did all this, and then obviously we had a break, and then they had breakout sessions. And then they started creating their performance tasks. So that was like the big aha moment. And there was this cute little group, and I don't want to keep you much longer, but they were talking about paleontology. I'm like, oh, this must be a high school class. I'm like, no, it's second grade. And I went, what? They're gonna dig cookies out, and like they're digging the chocolate chips out. It was like the greatest unit ever. And I said, can I come be in your second grade class? I want to come join you. Another one's taking their kids to the frog jump up at Calaveras County. I was so excited, Calaveras. I was like, that's up the hill for me, man. We go every weekend. And so that was really cool. So the collaboration part was key. And now we're gonna meet and we're gonna discuss all that. So as you know, we're all here because teaching's not our job. It's our passion and getting better at it is. And if there's any way that any of us can help you become better, and of course you help us get better, because if I want to steal all these ideas all the time, there's our information. Take pictures. I saw that. That's awesome. And thank you. Come find us if you have more questions at break, lunch, dinner, wherever. We're here for you. Thank you so much for being here.